When stepping into a management role, the interview room feels different from most others. Unlike entry-level or mid-level positions, being a manager carries the expectation of leadership, decision-making, and responsibility over people as well as results. Employers are not just testing your technical knowledge, they are assessing your ability to inspire, guide, and handle complex situations with balance. This means the questions you encounter in a managerial interview go deeper, often touching on judgment, strategy, and interpersonal skills. One of the first things to remember is that management interviews usually combine a blend of behavioral and situational questions. You are asked not only what you have done in the past, but also how you would react if certain scenarios came your way in the future. The goal is to see whether you can remain steady under pressure, communicate effectively, and create an environment where others thrive. So if you are preparing for an upcoming conversation about becoming a manager, let's walk through the types of questions you might face and how you can prepare for them with confidence. Understanding the nature of managerial questions. When hiring managers think about the right candidate for a leadership role, they imagine someone who can carry both authority and empathy. That balance is not easy to strike. This is why the questions often sound open-ended, giving you space to show your personality, your values, and your vision for teamwork. You might be asked about how you have resolved conflict between colleagues, how you handle deadlines that appear impossible, or what steps you take when performance in your team starts to decline. Each question is designed to reveal whether you can guide others while still keeping the bigger picture in mind. Unlike more technical interviews where right and wrong answers are easy to spot, managerial interviews reward stories. If you prepare short, meaningful stories from your career, you can illustrate how you acted, what decisions you made, and what the outcomes were. This storytelling approach helps interviewers imagine you in the role and makes your answers memorable. Common themes you will encounter. Most interviews for managers revolve around several repeating themes. One of them is leadership style. You will almost certainly be asked, how would you describe your leadership style? The purpose here is not to check whether your answer matches a textbook definition. Instead, interviewers want to hear how self-aware you are, and whether your natural approach fits with the organization's culture. Another common theme is conflict resolution. You might hear a question such as, tell me about a time you had to handle a disagreement between two team members. This is not just about mediating disputes. It's about whether you can protect team harmony while making sure productivity does not suffer. Sharing an example where you listened carefully, gave both parties respect, and guided them toward a fair solution will make your response stronger. A third theme is decision-making. Being a manager often means making choices when time is short and information is incomplete. Employers want to know your process. A question like, describe a difficult decision you had to make as a leader, gives you the chance to walk through your reasoning, the risks you considered, and the result you achieved. Clarity in decision-making is one of the most valuable traits for a manager. Preparing for behavioral scenarios. To succeed in a managerial interview, one of the best techniques is to use the STAR method: situation, task, action, and result. When you are asked about a challenge, start by describing the situation. Then explain the task you were responsible for, the actions you took, and finally, the results that came from your approach. This format keeps your answers structured and ensures you highlight the positive impact of your leadership. For example, if you are asked how you improved team performance, you might recall a time when deadlines were consistently missed. You could explain how you introduced a weekly planning session, clarified responsibilities, and set up checkpoints to track progress. By showing the concrete actions you took and the improvement in outcomes, you demonstrate effectiveness without sounding vague. The importance of communication. One of the most tested skills in interviews for managers is communication. Organizations want leaders who can share expectations clearly, listen to feedback, and motivate diverse teams. Questions like, how do you ensure your team understands your goals? Or, how do you handle giving negative feedback? Are directly tied to communication. The key here is to show that you are direct yet respectful, clear yet flexible. Employers want assurance that you can adjust your communication style depending on who you are addressing. Even when you are describing technical processes, speak in a way that feels inclusive and encouraging. That is what separates a manager from an individual contributor, the ability to translate vision into words people can follow and believe in. Addressing challenges and setbacks. No managerial career is free from setbacks. In fact, interviewers often want to know how you behave when things go wrong. You may be asked, "Tell me about a time you failed as a manager." While the question sounds intimidating, it is not a trap. It is an opportunity to demonstrate accountability and growth. A strong answer will include the lesson you learned and the adjustments you made afterward. Showing humility without losing confidence is often what interviewers admire most in this situation. Another variation may be, how do you handle stress as a leader? Here, the interviewer is checking whether you can remain composed when demands are high. Describing your approach to prioritization, time management, and self-care practices can illustrate that you are able to stay grounded even in demanding environments. Looking toward the future. While many questions focus on your past, interviews for managers also look forward. You might hear, "Where do you see your team in the next 5 years?" Or, "How would you contribute to the long-term growth of our department?" Such questions are designed to evaluate your vision. Employers want leaders who are not only reactive to immediate challenges but also proactive in shaping the future. Sharing realistic but ambitious goals demonstrates that you can balance today's tasks with tomorrow's possibilities. Closing thoughts for candidates. Preparing for a managerial interview is about more than rehearsing answers. It is about reflecting deeply on your experiences, identifying the principles that guide your leadership, and expressing them with clarity. The interview questions for managers are crafted to explore not just what you know, but who you are when you are trusted with responsibility. If you prepare stories that highlight your leadership style, your ability to resolve conflict, your decision-making process, your communication skills, and your resilience in the face of setbacks, you will walk into the interview room with confidence. Remember, every question is a chance to showcase not just competence, but character. At the end of the day, employers are searching for someone who can guide people, foster trust, and drive results. If your answers demonstrate that balance, you will leave a lasting impression. And whether on radio or in video, the message remains clear. Being a manager is about leading with integrity, clarity, and vision.